Everyone, my name is Amir Dev. I'll be presenting you this session. First and foremost, let me take this opportunity to thank you all for taking time to join this webinar. Hope you find it some insightful. In this webinar, I will introduce you to our visualization apps and further guide you towards the overall functionalities and behavior of the same, which could potentially add some value to your business. So before we start off with things here, all the lines are muted for now. If you have any questions or queries, please feel free to put them in the chat window. And at the end of this webinar, I would be more than happy to have a quick question and answer session. So let me begin with giving you an overview of our organization. Inogic is one of the leading organizations who builds the productive ISV add-ons on MS Dynamics platform. So we are primarily focused on designing and delivering the optimum quality products that can best fit in and fulfill the requirements of customers running their businesses across various domains in today's competitive market. Inogic is highly globally recognized for its finest quality and low cost of shared development services, as well as the productivity apps. As you can see on the right hand side of the screen, Inogic has a portfolio of about 16 products altogether. From the 16, Mapletics is a flagship product, market-leading certified geoanalytical mapping application that really empowers CRM users with the geographical data visualization. In addition to this, on the other side, SharePoint Security Sync is a comprehensive solution that integrates Microsoft Dynamics 365 with SharePoint for document management, along with an ability to sync the security privileges from Dynamics 365 CRM to SharePoint to ensure a secure and reliable access to the confidential information and the documents stored in the SharePoint. Moreover, InnoLink User Adoption Monitor attached to Dynamics, alerts for Dynamics, Click to Clone, Gamifix 365, and Business Process Checklist are some of the rest of the applications offered by Inogic. In this webinar session, we will look through two of our visualization apps that are Kanban board and Map My Relationship. So let me quickly set up the agenda for this webinar, which is basically how we will flow through this webinar session. We will begin with impact of visualization, where we will cover the significance of the better visualization for the business. Then I will move on to talk about one of our visualization apps, that is Kanban board, explaining what all it has got to offer in terms of its well-structured features to help improve the overall visualization of the data in the system. Further to this, we will see the tool in action, giving you the glimpses over what it overall looks like. Moving on, we will dive into another visualization app offered by us, that is Map My Relationships. And from there, we will proceed to have a look at its features along with a live demonstration of the tool. As I mentioned earlier, I'm more than happy to take up the Q&A session at the end of this webinar. Feel free to post your questions or queries in the chat. Now, why do we need to have a better visualization? Well, it is highly likely to help make decisions extremely faster than the market feels. With having an optimum quality visualization, it really can help prevent the business meetings from running longer, where managers and the senior ones within the organization can spot the data that they are actually looking for in much easier and a quicker way. Don't you think it can efficiently raise the visibility and overall flexibility around the business expansion? It indeed can. Now, this is exactly where our app Kanban board comes into the picture, that provides you an ability to swiftly enable the card-based Kanban view for CRM data. So let's have a look at some of the key features of Kanban. So Kanban view lets you visualize any view in the form of lens and rows across the chosen entity. drag and drop. It gives you an ability to move a card from one lane to the other with a simple drag and drop action. In addition, it also has a support for business process flow, where you can actually organize your cards based upon the multiple stages and milestones within the flow. It is certainly very much possible to enable quick actions on the activities like email, task, appointment, etc. against the record from within the card itself, so that users don't necessarily have to separately navigate to different page to add the activities, which can again save multiple clicks and get it done in the quickest time possible. You can also design the board to group the records within the lane to further categorize the information for rich visualization. You can choose what details or fields to be displayed on these Kanban compact cards based on your own business needs. Our board also lets you search for any record across the whole Kanban board as quickly as possible. Basically, Kanban board also honors the native CRM behavior around performing any action from the options on the ribbon bar. This is as simple as selecting a card and perform an action of user choice, such as assigning the records, changing the owner of the records, etc. It also has a provision to sort the cards based on the various fields of user's preference that are configured for your Kanban board. You can also enable the aggregation based on the aggregate field values of the records on lanes and row headers. For example, opportunity estimated revenue or actual revenue or budget amount, etc. Last but not least, board can also be configured to auto refresh with set intervals so that any updates or modifications made in the system will automatically reflect on the board without any manual intervention or without a user having to perform anything manually. So time to see this tool in the action. So let's have a quick demonstration of the tool. So this is what the overall board looks like, where there are details present in the form of lanes and rows. You can simply drag one card from one lane to the other. So it's as simple as just moving one record from one lane to the other. You can simply drop them on the other card. It also has the support for BPF. So if you observe over here this is the BPF, and there are a couple of stages involved in this business process flow. So again, in a similar manner, you can simply drag and drop a card from one stage to the other. If I switch back to my default board, you will notice here there are a couple of quick activities, actions configured for the card. So it leaves a choice to users completely that which activities user wants to enable for the cards, so that they can create those activities straight from within the card itself, and they don't have to separately navigate to the activities entity to create those. Moreover, it also has an ability to group the records just like shown over here. So I'm currently standing on the all cases view, and I have further grouped the records based on the origin of the cases. So that's basically to help myself, that what I want to know is which case record is inquired from which origin. So there are 4 cases that have come from phone. Similarly, there are 4 from emails and 4 from webs. So this is the way that you can actually, categorize or group the records altogether. If you notice on the right hand side, here is a search box. You can look for any record card just by putting the record name over here. Also, you can assign the record just by simply selecting the card and you can either share or assign it to somebody else. So this is where we are actually honoring the native behavior of the CRM. If I go back to all opportunities, it has the sorting ability as well. So you can sort the records in ascending or descending manner. You can also enable the options as you want for the sorting of the board. Moreover, if you notice on the top, it also has a provision to enable the aggregation of the values for your opportunities. So being a salesperson, I want to know what is the estimated revenue summation of all the records that are present in this lane. And last, board keeps refreshing automatically with the set intervals that is configured for your Kanban, so that any updates made in the system around any of the records can be automatically reflected in the Kanban board. So there is no need of user manual intervention. Now, let me switch back to my presentation. So jumping next, here is another visualization tool offered by us, as I mentioned earlier, that is nothing but the Map My Relationships, which is a real powerful app that provides you a mind map visualization of the data along with its numerous relationships and connections present in the CRM system. Similar to Kanban, let's have a quick look through the key features of the Map My Relationships. So it presents you the overall 360 degrees view of the data that you wish to see in the map. It also enables quick actions, which in other words gives you an ability to create any activity records like email, appointment, task, phone call, etc. straight from the relationship map itself. So again, user doesn't have to do them separately. It gives you a provision to create an associated record just in a single click to a node in the relationship map. You can configure the Map My Connections control, which is dedicated to show, create, and delete the connections of the records in both grid as well as relationship view. Our tool Map My Relationship supports the visualization of one-to-many, many-to-many, and many-to-one relationships, along with the custom entities. Moreover, it allows you to drill n level down through the relationships to be able to see the respective associated records of one entity with the another entity under each of them. You can also perform grouping and aggregation to show the aggregated values without having to separately create roll-up fields. Lastly, there is a provision to indicate the connection roles through color legends on the connection control to easily understand which records are connected with which connection rules. So let's see Map My Relationship tool in action. So as you can see, I'm currently standing on the account record, which is Adventure Works, and there are lots of relationships that are associated to this account record. So currently there are connections, deals, and contacts. So these deals are nothing but the opportunities that are associated to this account record. So if I expand this node, I'm further seeing that the records are categorized based on the status of the opportunities. So there are currently 3 opportunities that are in progress and the other 2 are on hold. If I expand this view, it presents you the data in much better view. So if you simply hover over on this node, you will see the estimated revenue that is summed of all the in progress opportunities. So this is nothing but the grouping and aggregation. Now, if I click on this adventure works, you will see these actions. So if you want to create an appointment or an email or the task or any other activity type against this record adventure works, you can do it from within the map itself, so that you don't have to separately create these activities for this account record. Now, let's take a scenario where I want to be able to see the connections of the contacts. So, for example, I'm standing on this adventure works and I want to see the contacts of this account record. So I have chosen the appropriate contact relationship for my map my relationship control. Now, if I further expand these contacts, it opens up in two categorized nodes that are female and male. So I want to know how many female contacts are there and how many male contacts are there. Again, if I hover over on these nodes, it shows the credit limit, which is exactly what we call as the aggregation and the grouping and the aggregation. So let me further expand this and see the records. So it has further popped up two female contacts. Now consider a scenario where I want to be able to see the connections of these female contact records as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to further double click on this. In other words, I'm going to expand this node to see the associated connections. So this contact record has 6 connections associated to it. So if I further expand these connections, I'm going to be able to see all 6 connection records. Now, I again want to see further connection records of one of these contact connections over here. So with the help of the child configuration, I'm going to expand this node again and see the connections. So this branded years also has 6 connections records. So expanding this connections node, our map overall looks like this. So if you guys notice carefully, what we have done here is we have come all the way from adventure works and we have kept drilling the records down and we reached the connections of this final the contact record. So this is nothing but the ability to drill n level down through the records. Now, just like the relationship control, we do have map my connections control that we ship along with our product. So if I switch back to the connections view, it's going to present you the data in the grid format first, where you can actually play around switching within the views from grid view to relationship and back to grid view from the relationship view. So it's loading the data at the moment. So here what it looks like, you can create the connected records from here. Basically, these are nothing but the connection, role categories that are configured for your entities. So if you switch this view from grid view to the relationship view, it is going to get you this view. Again, let me just expand this for better visualization. So right now, you can see there are 6 connections of this adventure works. So the basic difference between the relationship view and the MapMy connections control is it has the color legends capacity. So from the view, I'm clearly understanding the fact that which of the connection records are connected to this adventure work with which of the connection roles. So it makes the visualization very exciting and very usable. So let me quickly just switch back to the relationship view, where we also have the ability to show the data in the tabular format. So what I mean to say over here is, let me just refresh this view. Now, if I expand the opportunities again, you can see the records in the tabular format. Again, if you can also change the views from one view to the other. So changing the view will give you the records that belong to that respective chosen view. So I can have multiple views and select any of the views upon the business needs. So this was about the MapMy relationships. I'll quickly jump on my slide again. Now the question arises, the support of these two tools. So our tools are supported for Dynamics 365 Online, Dynamics On-Premise version 9.1 SP1 onwards, as well as the Dataverse. So here are a couple of questions that are usually asked across these two tools. So let me go through them one by one. Is there any limit to viewing the relationships between records? No, there is no limit or no restriction as such. You can configure and see as many relationships as you want. The next one, are Kanban board and MapMy relationships compatible across devices? Absolutely, they are. They work extremely smooth across various devices, including phone, tab, desktop, and laptop. Is it possible to view details of the records in the relationship map? Yes, that's definitely possible to show the details of the records. So as we saw in the demonstration of the tool, this can be viewed upon hovering over the record node as seen in the demonstration. What Microsoft Dynamics products do you support? So basically, we support Dynamics 365 Online and onwards, as well as the Dataverse. So our products communicate well with these two platforms. Fifth one, is it possible to switch to a normal grid view once Kanban board is installed? It absolutely is. You can switch back to the regular view if you wish to, upon having Kanban already installed in your system. Now, another question from the set of questions we have received from our viewers. Is it possible to set the default view for the Kanban? Yes, that is definitely possible. You can simply pin the view so that Kanban board will load when you actually jump on that entity with the default view. The next one, how to get started. So before we proceed, I would like to ask if there are any questions you have. Please feel free to put them in the chat. So we will wait for a couple of minutes to see if we get any questions, and then we'll move on. So we do have a question here from one of the viewers. Is Kanban board supported for custom entities? So the answer is yes, definitely it is. You can configure Kanban board for the OOB as well as the custom entities. There's another quick question that says, is it possible to configure both the controls, map my relationships and map my connections at the same time? Yes, it's certainly possible. As I showed in the demonstration, both these controls can be configured for one entity, and you can also configure these two controls across the multiple forms of the entities. Let's wait a couple more seconds to see if there are any further questions, and then we can go from there. Great. So now is the time for polling. So I'll quickly launch the poll questions for the responses. So the poll is open now. So we'll wait for the responses. Fantastic. So let me launch another question. Which feature did you like the most about my relationships? I would be really interested to know which one did you find very exciting about the relationship product. Is it create associated record, or an ability to create activities like email, phone call, appointment, etc., or visualization of the related records by adding grouping and the bottom two? So the poll is open. We'll wait for the responses for a couple more minutes. That's great. I'll quickly close out the polls and proceed further. So what to do next? You can get started just in quickest time possible. You can learn more about Kanban board and map my relationships today. If you want to try out our solution, you can simply download them from our website or from the Microsoft AppSource as well. In case of any queries or questions regarding any of these two visualization apps, you can simply ping us an email at crm@inogic.com, and we will be definitely happy to take your questions from there and guide you with that. Lastly, I would really like to thank you all for taking time to join this webinar. Thank you very much. Cheers. Take care.